Everybody, peace. Welcome to the Started Broadly Basketball Show. Wherever or however you're listening, we're so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I'm your host, Sean Cottle, and we have an impromptu show today, guys. I wasn't planning on doing a show today. However, I had a couple people message me asking if I had seen the Ohio State and Iowa game last weekend, the women's game. And they were asking why I didn't cover, or why we didn't cover the game. And I didn't respond, but I thought to myself, well, why didn't we cover that game? And it had completely just slipped my mind, because I was planning on doing a women's college basketball show later on this week, but I realized I never got a chance to talk about the Ohio State Iowa game, and because it's too late to provide coverage on it, but what we can do is discuss takeaways from that game. And one of the takeaways from that game was like how good Ohio State really is. And if you watch the game, I love the thought process, I love the matchups, I love the game plan that Ohio State had for their matchup against Iowa. And it was that it's something that all collegiate teams, men and women, should do when going against an opponent that has a prolific scorer. For example, Iowa has Caitlin Clark, and what Ohio State did is they said that we're going to allow Caitlin Clark to score 30 plus points, 30, 40 points, however many she wants to score. But we're not going to allow the role players, Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall, they're shooters. They're not going to allow the role players to beat them, and that's what Ohio State did. If you could tell, they didn't double Caitlin Clark at all, not even on ball screens. They didn't double her, and when Caitlin Clark drove to the basket, normal help side would be a normal help side rotation, but the defense didn't shift at all. For the most part, the defense stayed on the shooters, and that was an intentional game plan. And that's something that all collegiate teams should do, men or women's, Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, JUCO. You gotta allow that person, if you're going up against an opponent that is scoring 30, 40 points a game, you let them score 30, 40 points. But what you don't do is you don't allow the role players to score or to beat you, because what happens is when the role players score, that's truly how a team builds momentum and creates momentum. And you could tell Iowa never truly got in a rhythm during that game against Ohio State, and Ohio State was able to capitalize and ended up defeating Iowa in overtime. And so moving forward from that game, Ohio State, is now 17-3. They're first in the Big Ten, or at least tied for first in the Big Ten. And you now have to start asking yourself, okay, what are the chances? What are the odds that Ohio State can actually win the Big Ten? Can they dethrone Iowa? Can they beat Indiana? Two teams that many predicted to meet in the Big Ten championship game, in the conference championship game. But Ohio State is very much a candidate to win the Big Ten. Led by transfer Celeste Taylor and J.C. Sheldon and Cody McMahon. Ohio State is uber talented, and they have experience, and they have defensively a number of tremendous players, especially at the guard position. Like I said, Celeste Taylor, second on the team in steals and first in blocks, as well as first in assists. The Duke transfer, she played under the Kara Lawson program at Duke, which is known for tremendous on-ball defense and creating energy on the defensive end and creating turnovers. intense ball pressures. So she carries that over here to Ohio State, and you can tell the impact that she's had on the program and on her teammates here. Couple her in the backcourt with J.C. Sheldon, who's one of the best point guards in the Big Ten. She's averaging 17.5 points per game, 2 steals per game, and 3 assists, while shooting 51% from the field. That's amazing percentages for a point guard. And then obviously, you have Cody McMahon, who's averaging 13 points a game and 6 rebounds, and had a career high 30 plus points in the game against Iowa. So there's a lot of talent that Ohio State has, and with the veteran leadership, like I said, led by Celeste Taylor, this is ample opportunity for Ohio State to capitalize off this win against Iowa and use this to propel them forward to win the Big Ten. And not only is Ohio State placing themselves as legitimate candidates to win the Big Ten, but they're also placing themselves as legitimate candidates to possibly make a run to the Elite Eight, even to the Final Four, perhaps. Because based off what I saw against their game against Iowa, that game wasn't a fluke. They showed the rest of the nation a game plan, roadmap for how to beat Iowa moving forward. And like I said, that's like I let off the show with, you allow Caitlin Clark to score 30, 40 points a game, but you don't allow the role players to beat you. Because at the collegiate level, very rarely is one player going to beat you. Very rarely is a player scoring 35, 40 plus points going to be enough for that team to beat you. And people will say, well, Iowa's been doing this whole year with Caitlin Clark. That's not the case. If you look at all of their wins, I mean, listen, they only have one loss in the year. But what makes Iowa prolific and what makes them dangerous is when their role players start to shoot. They run a motion offense with a lot of what you call relocations off of drives, a lot of driving kicks, kind of like less of a motion, more of a read and react offense, dribble drives. And what you realize is when Caitlin Clark drives, there's so much pressure that she causes the defense to collapse. And then that's when you kick it out and you get, like I said, the Kate Martins and the Gabby Marshalls. They get the open shots for them to make. And then you still got low post presence of Kia Stolke as well. But what Ohio State did against Iowa, you don't allow that defense to collapse. You just you play one-on-one with Caitlin Clark and you say, hey, I'm going to let you score 50, 45, but you're not going to beat us by yourself. And that's what it is. And you can do that at the collegiate level, not so much at the professional level, because at the professional level, the NBA and even the WNBA, the talent is so transcendent to where one player can literally beat you by themselves. Not so much in college. By the professional level, you don't see that. You don't see that concept as much, really at all, because players know, coaches know that, yeah, this one player can beat us by themselves, and you have to double to get the ball at their hand. By the collegiate level, you allow someone to score 35. You allow someone to score 40 plus points, because that's not going to be enough for them to beat you. And Ohio State showed the rest of the nation the game plan, the roadmap, the scouting report for how to beat Iowa. And I won't be surprised moving forward if more teams start to utilize that concept, that defensive method, when they play Iowa. So it'll be interesting to see how Iowa moves forward with the defense adjustments that teams are going to make on them. Most definitely they will. But like I said, for Ohio State, I believe that them being led by Celeste Taylor and J.C. Sheldon and Cody McMahon, and even Rebecca Mikolasakova, who is one of the best shooters as a big, shooting 30% from the field, from the 3-point line as a big. Listen, they've got talent and they've got the shooters. They've got a very balanced offense, and defensively is where they create a lot of turnovers. So they are able to get out in transition, and Ohio State has a legitimate chance of winning the Big Ten. And creating some havoc and creating some noise in the NCAA tournament when the time comes. So I like what I've seen from Ohio State. I do believe they have a legitimate chance of winning the Big Ten regular season and tournament, and I'm excited to see what they do moving forward. Like I've said for the past 2 years, this is the most talent that women's college basketball has seen at one time since its inception. This is the most talent I can remember ever seeing at one time in women's college basketball, and it's great for the sport. But there's a plethora of teams that have a legitimate chance to contend with, not necessarily contend with South Carolina, but be there with South Carolina in the Final Four. And I think Ohio State's one of those teams. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think in the chat room. Looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. But with that being said, guys, that's actually it for our show for today. Like I said, I just want to do a quick pop-up video for the Ohio State women's basketball team and how good they can actually be moving forward. But that being said, guys, we'll be back again same time tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with our NFL show, recapping the conference championship games. But that being said, guys, continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions, and until next time, peace.